Hey, and welcome to this video about advice for editing in Premiere Pro. I'm going to go over editing with waveforms, proxies, file organization, and possible title sequences for your next video. Let's go. First, I'm going to drag in my audio file, which is this green bar. And if you ever want to adjust how much you can view of a bar, you just have to drag these dots along the right sliders. So I want to make my audio files a bit larger. And because I don't really need them right now, I have muted and will lock the audio that came with the video. And I'll scroll down from the right side to only see the music. To zoom in on your timeline, just hold Alt and scroll up with your mouse wheel. When it comes to audio, it's a good thing to keep your decibel levels around -10 and -20. Anything lower is too quiet, and anything higher is too loud. So in my case, my audio is a bit too loud, so right-clicking on the file and hitting audio gain, I'm just going to hit the gain to -12 decibels. Better. Okay, now what we're going to do is I'm going to skim through the audio clip and find places where I want to perform a cut or transition. Any sounds with a lot of impact you can identify from the waveform by a bump. Anything raised is essentially impact. What I do is I try to find the valley right in front of the big impact and then put a marker there by hitting M. And then I do that for the rest of the audio. Once I finish putting in all my markers, I'll start editing my clips. Make sure that your snap to timeline setting is on, so that would be the magnet to the very top left, or S. As long as that's on, it'll snap into where the markers are. So I'm gonna just take these clips, drag it until it snaps to where the marker is. And I'm gonna do that for all of them. This is gonna take some trial and error. While going through my edit, I actually noticed that I missed one of the drum kicks near the beginning, so I just quickly added that in. Here's what I came up with. And that's how you can use waveforms to edit. This next tip is for when you are starting to use heavy footage, and by heavy I mean quite large. When you use large footage, you actually slow down Premiere significantly and painfully, so hopefully this tip using proxies will help lighten that load. First off, I'm going to hit this plus button in the bottom right of my program monitor. I'm going to try to find the icon with two cards that are looking to swap. Drag it and then drop it onto your bar. This will toggle between your proxy footage and your actual footage. Then I'm going to go to my videos and highlight all of the clips that I'm planning to use, which is all of them in this case. Right click and then hit proxy. Under proxy, I'm going to click create proxies. What you can do here is pick what type of footage you want. If you want it low quality, high quality, medium quality, H.264. I'm going to use QuickTime because I've heard QuickTime works better with Premiere Pro, but both of them are fine. And I'm going to hit OK. What this will allow me to do, it's going to start making my computer open up Media Encoder, which is another Adobe application, which will start producing these proxies. To clarify, proxies are a lower resolution copy of your original footage that Premiere uses instead of the actual footage to work faster. Hopefully you can see that the footage you're seeing right now is much lower than the footage I was dealing with before. This is letting Premiere render through the timeline much quicker, almost like butter at this point. If you want to check your real footage, just click the toggle button that we've shown earlier, and you can actually preview your video again. If you want, you can also put your proxies on along with a lower playback resolution. So you can do 1/8, 1/4, 1/2. This technique is really good for computers that can't handle Premiere Pro that well, or if you're dealing with high quality footage, a lot of adjustment layers, graphics, etc. So please use proxies to your advantage. Okay, it's time. File organization. There's a lot of ways to approach this, but how I've done it is I have an assets folder outside of all my other video folders, assets meaning intro graphics or ending credits. This means I don't have to copy and paste into every video dedicated folder I have. And each video dedicated folder, I have a set of 4 subfolders, one being footage, audio, project files, and renders. Depending on the project, my footage file would have subfolders dedicated to each type of equipment that I use for each video. Audio is all my sound effects or songs. Project files would be my Premiere, my After Effects files, and renders are any of my final exports. At the beginning of all my Premiere projects, I will take my footage and audio folders and drag them into my project bin. Now I'll take the time to label my files. So what I'm going to do is right click, hover over label, and then select the color I wish to color code these files with. A way you can go about with color coding could be coloring by location of your footage or by equipment you use for your footage, such as drone, camera, phone. And for audio, you could differentiate between sound effects or voiceovers or music. That wraps up how to organize your files. On to the next one. For my last advice, I'm going to teach you how to use the Essential Graphics tab in Premiere Pro. By doing this, I'm going to be teaching you guys 3 different ways you can make a title sequence for your videos. The first title I'm going to go through is the zoom through text sequence. So what I'm going to do is at the top bar where you can select your workspaces, I'm going to hit this arrow and I'm going to click Edit Workspace. I'm going to find all panels and then drag it to the top under the bar category. All panels means I have access to every panel that Premiere has to offer, which makes it easier for me to deal with graphics. So in the top left, I'm going to hit File, New, and then Legacy Title. After hitting OK, I'm going to add the video that I want to be behind the title, and then I'm going to drag the title item on top onto the V2 layer. Now I'm going to click on the title layer and hit T and start writing out my title. I'm going to use Hello World. And then to the right, I'm going to hit Legacy Title Properties, and I'm going to adjust the size and the font of the text. I also took the time to manually reposition and manually adjust the spacing for this text. If you ever want to center your title, just scroll down to Legacy Title Actions, and then just hit the Center Horizontally and Center Vertically button. Running to the effects panel, we're going to add the track matte key effect. So just type matte and then drag and drop the effect onto your video layer. While on the video layer, we're going to hit the effects control panel, and under the track matte key, we're going to hit for matte to be video 2 because that is the layer that the title item is on. Now we can see our video through the text. If you want, you can add another video below this text and the text will sit on top of the same. So for example, I'm adding a track and moving my video up, and I'm just going to pull a video from my project bin and tuck it under. And then you can see that the title just sits above. Kind of hard to read, but it's possible. One way to add color in the background is to add an item called a color matte. And then with the color matte, I just click OK and select a color that I find best fitting. So here I went for a more pale yellow. And then I just dragged and dropped it from my project bin into my sequence. For the zooming component, we're going to click on the effects control panel again. Make sure to select the title layer. And what we're going to do is we're going to keyframe the position and the scale. We're going to click these 2 stopwatches at the very beginning of our clip. We're going to speed ahead a couple of seconds. I'm just going to make the scale really, really big. And as I'm doing that, I'm adjusting the position of the title so that we actually zoom through the L. Here's me running it back after editing the position and scale, and we have successfully completed the zoom through title tutorial. The next title is going to be a frosted look. To start off, we're going to add text using T, and I'm going to just type in hello world again. Using the FX control panel, I'm going to change the font as well as increase the size. You can manually readjust the text in the effects panel. However, I'm going to use the Essential Graphics tab on the right side, and I'm going to center it by hitting the horizontally align and the vertically align buttons. Sometimes the text doesn't contrast against the background enough, so what I'm going to do is go into the effects control panel and I'm going to key the opacity to be 70 at the beginning and a few seconds in 100%. To enhance this frosting look, I'm going to drag the Gaussian blur effect. I'm going to set it at a couple seconds in where I'll have 0 blurriness and at the beginning about 50, and make sure to hit this checkbox here to remove any dark edges. To finish this off, under video opacity, there's a blend mode. You can select any type of blend mode like multiply, overlay, or soft light. This will enhance the text on top of the video. And here's the results. Onto the last title sequence. We're going to replicate this barn door effect. So first what we're going to do is access the Essential Graphics panel. I'm going to add a new layer. I'm going to set the height to be about 80, and then breaking this chain, I'm going to set the width about 2000, anything that extends beyond your screen. I'm going to hit this align to top and then align to center button. And I'm going to fill it with a color from the video. I'm going to pick like the sky blue. And I'm going to copy and paste this layer, and I'm going to align it to the bottom of the composition. And then I just renamed them. Going back to the effects control panel for the graphics, I'm going to hit the toggle down for the shapes, so shape 1 and shape 2. A couple seconds into the film, we're going to key the original state they're in right now, and at the beginning, I'm going to increase the vertical scale until the top and the bottom have crossed past the midpoint of the video composition. In between these two keyframes, I'm actually going to save another spot where I'm going to hold the doors to be open part way. So open a bit, stay, and then open more. Now we can add the actual title. So you can add text, or I'm going to just pull in a title that I had prepared. I am just going to edit this title because it doesn't fit this title sequence. So I'm just going to resize it, center it, and change the fill. Nothing new here, we covered these topics earlier in this video. Next, I'm going to edit the scale of the text. I want the text to disappear when the barn doors are fully opened. So hitting the stopwatch beside the scale, I'm going to scrub ahead to find where the barn doors are fully opened. And I'm going to drag the 100% key a couple frames before that. And then when the doors are open, I'll set the scale at 0. To make the text disappearing effect go smoother, I'm going to highlight, right click, and hit Bezier. This will ease between the two keys. I'm also going to edit the velocity graph. So hitting the toggle arrow, I'm just going to pull this left handle just a little bit to the right. So then it speeds up near the end, so it disappears a bit faster. And that's it for this title sequence. Here's my results. I switched the footage because this one best fit the title sequence more. Welcome to the end of the video. You have learned how to edit with waveforms, using proxies, file organization, and using the Essential Graphics to create title sequences. Good luck to your video editing journeys. Bye!